Hi guys, good morning. Today is June 30th. It is the second vlog for Tzevet stuff. I don't know if anybody's watching these, but that's not really what vlogging's about anyway. I don't know. I don't know what it is about. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about Kenya and my experience there. Actually, probably I'm going to do Kenya and camp separately. They're probably like each their own 5 minutes, but I'm going to keep each one to 5 minutes and you can decide what you want to listen to. If you want to listen to both, great, but whatever. Okay, so I'll start with Kenya. I was in Nairobi, Kenya for the first 4 months of this year, from the end of August to the end of December. All the Chagim, which was interesting in and of itself. And I was there because my program that I go to, or that I used to go to, that I graduated from a Hebrew University, the idea was that you got a year of theoretical experience, theoretical knowledge, like studying in class in Israel, and then you would do a semester abroad where you would get hands-on work experience in the field, working for NGOs, nonprofits, etc. So I started working for an organization that is an amazing organization. And I just want to be clear that anything that I say is that's not like necessarily positive, is not a reflection on the organization. It's not a reflection on the program, and it's not a reflection on my my program that I went to in Israel at all. It's just sometimes what happens, and like I just it was just meant to be, I guess, that I had the experience that I had instead of the experience that I had hoped for or wanted. I pretty much wanted my whole life to do this type of thing, but not like voluntourism, which is volunteer tourism. I wasn't interested in like going and like becoming really, working in an orphanage or something and like helping kids, I don't know, learn English or whatever the need would be, and then like bouncing after like a month or two or whatever. Like I don't believe that those are very effective ways of creating positive, sustainable change in the world. And I really wanted to do something more like this, where I was like a proper intern, and even if I interacted with people and with kids, it would be for like a proper amount of time, and like I would, God willing, build like real lasting relationships. Unfortunately, things did not quite turn out that way. The field is just, it's fickle and it's complicated, and when it's an entire field run based solely off of people's generous donations and sometimes lack thereof, or whatever, the developing world is also difficult to work in sometimes, but whatever, just a few things kind of ended up not working out, and so I essentially ended up spending nearly 4 months by myself alone in an apartment in Kenya, which is super weird and probably not why you would watch this vlog, but I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like the things to talk about, like what did I do every day. I mean, I can give you like a brief idea, like I had a schedule, I don't know, like sometimes you wonder like, why am I even getting up in the morning if I have nowhere to go, if I have nothing to do, and it's not that things weren't kind of happening, but it was happening so slow in such small amounts that it genuinely didn't feel like I was working most of the time. Kenya was not the experience that I expected to get, and I know that like expectations often don't match our reality, and like I was very aware of that going in, and like I knew like I have to just do as we do in Camp Stone, which is just be super, super flexible all the time. And I tried, and I really tried, and it was super hard to stay positive for most of the time. It was really hard. The first 2 weeks were, the first week I was like stressed and trying to find an apartment that I could afford, and that was in the location that I needed. And then after I had that apartment, it felt like much better, and I was like, great, let's get to work. And then that kind of didn't work out, and like the Chabad at the time wasn't really functioning so much, and it was just a lot of alone time. So after the first week, it was like the first week I was like obviously very like, you know, new country, intense, whatever. The second week was kind of the same thing, but like then suddenly I was like, okay, things aren't like really moving along, and like I was spending a lot of time by myself. And the third week went by, and I was like, okay, there's like a lot of time by myself. I've almost been here for a month, and I'm not really doing so much, and I'm like pretty much just spending all this time alone. And it like I started to like really like, you know, it was really hard. It was like, it's super hard to be alone with your own thoughts for that long. And like obviously I watched movies and I was on YouTube and I read books and I, you know, kept myself entertained in other ways. But it was kind of that was a really weird, rough experience for me. But I think that, I know I'm over 5 minutes, I'm just gonna say, I guess, what the main thing that I learned about myself and about my experience in Kenya was that I think at some point in my life, like it was totally subconscious, but I guess I kind of thought that I liked or I loved myself the maximum that I could. Not because like I have low self-esteem or I thought I could love myself more. I thought I was at the maximum. I was like, you know, like I know who I am, and like you know, I'm tough on myself, but I love myself and all that kind of stuff. And I really never thought, I didn't realize that it could grow or it could get better. And I got very lucky because at the end of the 3 weeks when I was having a really rough time and like really struggling with myself, it kind of all just flipped. And I ended up really just loving myself a lot. And I guess there's because I had nobody else really around to love. And I don't know, like I don't know, I ended up growing like my relationship with myself and learning a huge amount about myself, which I really genuinely thought you know, I'd pretty much known my deal by this point. But it turns out that you can love yourself more. And you just sometimes have to be challenged and put into the opportunity to grow and have that. So even though I didn't get what I wanted out of Kenya, I definitely got a lot out in a personal way. If you want more information about that, I'm more than happy to talk about logistics and the exact details. But we're at 7 minutes now, so I'm going to finish about Kenya right now. It wasn't what I wanted it to be, but I can tell you that everybody else in my program went across the world and had incredible experiences and did amazing work, like really long lasting, like sustainable, legit, like helpful work. Not like I feel good about myself and therefore I think it's helpful, like genuinely helpful work that is going to genuinely help the communities that we were lucky enough to be a part of for that amount of time. It just wasn't necessarily my experience, but yeah. So that was me in Kenya.